Do you know that when you switch from the camera, the still shot camera, to video, it zooms a little bit, so then you get the shock. It's like a jump scare of your own face leaping at you. Um, yeah, so I'm on the sofa, and the camera's going to be a little bit shaky. I wanted to tell a story because I was just thinking about how I'm so determined to call it in as opposed to call it out. Like Dr. Loretta, I hate that I've forgotten her name. Um, she's affiliated with the Martin Luther King Institute, and she talked about the benefit that she wants to change the kind of public conversation into more calling things in rather than calling things out, which I agree with. And also, uh, I think that on the one hand, there's like this sort of energy thing and the universe and how if you talk about something, it gives it more energy, which, someone could say, oh, that's just woo woo. But that's also the strategy of corporations, and has been for 40 years or 50 years, where they just keep plugging the same image and it becomes familiar and unthreatening at the very least, if not appealing. I mean, like, Ronald McDonald is not such an attractive figure, but it's memorable. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, there are people with clown phobias out there, but they didn't worry about that. I don't think they had the clown phobia as much. I think it was before the movie It when they came up with Ronald McDonald. But I wanted to tell a story because I actually believe that part of the reason that Donald Trump got elected was because of the hate as the love, because they were just talking about him incessantly. So he was seen as very relevant and important, and he was on the news all the time. And he's also unforgettable looking. Um, so there was this example from the Hindu, the Shiva Purana. I think it's from the Shiva Purana, where there was this poor man who used to go to work every day in India, and he used to see a Shiv Lingam, which is a kind of stone phallus, on the side of the road, and it was like a roadside shrine to Lord Shiva, the destroyer. And he was so mad at his life that he would kick the lingam every day on his way to work. He would stop, and he'd be like, "Oh, I hate my life," and like curse Lord Shiva and kick the lingam, this stone phallus that represents Lord Shiva, on his way to work every day. And then he lived his life and he died, and he was conducted to Lord Shiva's heaven. I'm not sure which heaven that is, because, like, according to the scriptures, there's three heavens. There's like Vaikunt, and there's Gandharvlok and Swarg. And I don't think Shiva's in charge of any of Lord Shiva is in charge of any of those. Those are kind of Vishnu heavens, but this is kind of not pertinent to the story. There was a heaven, and this guy was taken to that heaven where Lord Shiva embraced him. And the guy was a little confused. He was like, "Lord Shiva, why am I here? Like, why am I not in Narkadwar, the underworld? Because I kicked your lingam every day." And Lord Shiva was like, "Yeah, every day, without fail. My own devotees don't remember me that often." So, yeah, that was just an example of kind of the power of giving your attention to something, even in a perverse way. They call it Viruddha Bhakti in Hinduism, which is a perverse devotion to the divine, which is if you get so mad at it, but actually you're focused. You're incredibly focused, and then you make it more powerful. And also, I mean, in this particular case, it had a beneficial side effect. So anyway, um, that was the story I wanted to tell about Lord Shiva and the lingam and the guy who ended up in heaven. So, and I also like that story because it's not like it's so different from the idea of like sin and evil and all that kind of thing. It's like it's a very sort of amusing story that kind of gives you this picture of how where you're placing your attention is so incredibly powerful. You know, whether you're whatever your Yelp review is, whether it's positive or negative, what you're talking about is actually what's being recorded. Anyway, okay, bye for now.